Hey everybody, it's Brian Hart Hoffman, the editor-in-chief of Bake From Scratch, and I'm so excited to be back in the kitchen for more fast fix baking. These recipes are delicious and unique, and they meet the criteria to be quick and easy. You will love this Mexican street cornbread with a fresh lime butter. Imagine it. Studded with cilantro, buttery corn, and salty cheese. Tell me why that wouldn't sound good. This recipe and a lot of others comes from my brand new cookbook, Fast Fix Baking, where everything can be made in under 2 hours because let's face it, sometimes you want to bake even when time is not on your side. But this is one you'll make no matter what. You're gonna love it. It's super easy. Let's get started. We're starting things off in a bowl with our dry ingredients, and a whisk together, stir together, simple recipe, never tasted so good. But let's start with the basics. We've got our plain yellow cornmeal in the bowl, and then to this we're adding all-purpose flour. I've got granulated sugar, and then what I think of is like the baking trifecta of baking soda, baking powder, salt. Pretty standard, you see that in a lot of recipes. But then we need spice, and spice is nice, especially in this recipe. We've got chili powder hitting it, and then some ground cumin. So you already know if this were smell-o-vision, you'd be enjoying this, but you'll have to bake it in your kitchen to see just how good this is. After a quick whisk, your dry ingredients are ready, and then we can get our other ingredients together. So I'm gonna move that bowl just to the side. Now, working with room temperature ingredients helps us get everything combined and emulsified without anything getting separated, clumpy, gloopy, and well, we just don't want that. So I've got room temperature sour cream in the bowl, and then we're gonna whisk everything together. I've got whole milk, I've got some vegetable oil, and then I have 2 eggs. Again, everything room temperature so that it combines beautifully into this recipe. Now, when I am whisking, especially with oil and eggs, I use my whisk to first break up the eggs. The second thing I do is I stay in the center of the bowl because I don't want to wear the oil and the milk and the liquids on my clothing, and I want to keep it all in the bowl. So starting in the center allows everything to combine and start this little vortex that pulls everything into the center. And then as you see things combining, you can start to expand your whisking so that it comes together in a nice, clean, and orderly fashion. You know, you don't want to wear it, we want to bake with it. So after you have everything combined and make sure everything looks the same, it's nice and uniform, you're kind of scraping through the sides and bottom of the bowl with your whisk. Then we're gonna get our dry ingredients in the bowl. It's happening fast, right? This is how easy it is. So we're gonna whisk these together. And when we're whisking this, you don't have to worry about every single bit of this getting combined because we're gonna add some more good stuff in just a second. This is just to get the base coming together with the whisk. So we're getting all the clumps broken up and get things, like I said, almost combined. But we're gonna add more to it, so you can stop there. Now, here's the fun mix in. I've got roasted corn kernels. Can't be a Mexican street cornbread without roasted corn. So that's in. Then we're getting the crumbled queso fresco in. Oh man, I love this. We've got some fresh chopped cilantro, tongue twister there. And then some garlic. And who doesn't love garlic? Well, let me put it this way. If you don't love garlic, don't add it here. All right, using a spatula, we're just gonna fold or loosely stir this together. So like I said, this is where you're getting all of those ingredients properly combined and mixed. So it didn't matter as much when we were doing that initial whisking. But this is where you wanna get everything just brought together. Stop. Smell. It's so good. Smells so good, I feel like we should bake it. Good idea. We're gonna bake this in an 8.5 by 4.5 inch loaf pan, but the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna spray this with a baking spray with flour. So I'm just doing short bursts of the spray just to get a light coating in the pan and then spray through the bottom. That's gonna help your parchment paper stay in place. So using parchment for a sling, I'm just gonna press this into the bottom of the pan, that baking spray helping it stay. And then I have one trick I like to share for my parchment because see how this is blowing in the wind, and I want to get the batter in and have it bake beautifully. So I take my parchment and I use my hand just to pinch and fold over the parchment. It keeps it out of the way, and I can get the batter in for baking. I mean, if this craving hits, just think of how simple that was to bring it all together. Fast, easy, delicious, unique. Make sure your batter's nice and even. This is one of those batters you can just use your spatula and get it in a nice even layer. Then we're off to a 350-degree oven to bake until golden brown, and a wooden pick inserted into the center comes out with a few moist crumbs. That's about 40 to 50 minutes. You might want to cover it with foil for the last 10 minutes of baking, just to make sure it doesn't get too brown on top. Then after baking, let it cool in the pan for 10 minutes, and then use that parchment to get it out of the pan, and you can serve it warm. So let's bake it so we can get into this. I would say this was a lot of hard work, but it's not. It's warm bread with a lime butter, and now it's time to cut into it. You know when recipes say let it cool completely, think of that stuff as just loose terminology for test your patience. But this is a recipe where no need for that. Ooh-wee, look at that. Studded with corn. It smells amazing. But more than smell, I know it's gonna taste amazing too. Let's get that lime butter right there. Oh yeah. Yo, look at that. It just breaks apart in your hand. It's so tender. I need a beer or margarita or something. That is so good. You can store this in an airtight container for up to 3 days, but I have a feeling that's not even gonna be a part of this conversation because it's so good. The link for this recipe is included in the description of the episode, as well as information about how you can be a part of the Bake From Scratch community. Now, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel so that you'll never miss another delicious moment of baking with me here in the kitchen. But now it's your turn. Preheat your ovens, it's time to bake. I'll see you next time here in the kitchen.